Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Now, this, just by the title of this video alone, I expect there to be a million other videos of you-know-who espousing stuff, and then titles like, blank eviscerates liberal YouTuber. But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So, before we get to any of this stuff, I just want you to know that I'm recording this at 12:11 a.m. on September the 29th. So if there's anything more about the Kavanaugh hearings or anything more, I know nothing about it. I just legitimately know nothing about it. So, before we get into anything relating to Kavanaugh or you-know-who, I feel that it would be best to start off with the news. Coming in from down south, incoming Mexican president to accept Truth Commission. President-elect Andrés Manuel López Obrador poses with the relatives of some of the... Well, that's just a description of the picture that comes with the website. Mexican President-elect Andrés Manuel López Obrador said Wednesday his administration will accept a Truth Commission to investigate the case of 43 teachers, college students, missing since, I guess it's supposed to say, of 43 teachers and college students, missing since September 26, 2014, drawing rare praise and exceptions from long-suffering parents of the victims. Now you see, this is interesting because it's suspected that this may be involved with crooked cops or maybe a gang. So, actually, according to the story, it says that it might have to do with both. Police turning over these people to a gun or to a drug gang. So yeah, there's So yeah, that's a good thing for AMLO. He's keeping up with some of his promises of, like, trying to take down one of the cartels and doing things that his predecessors wouldn't dare touch. So yeah. The next story. My heart aches. Democratic Florida candidate for U.S. House dies suddenly. April Freeman, a U.S. House of Representatives candidate for Florida's 17th district, died unexpectedly at the age of 54 on Sunday, according to her family. Freeman's husband, David, shared the news on her personal Facebook page on Monday. It is with great sadness that I feel that I must inform all of you to my beloved wife April passed away suddenly last night. To all of her family and friends here on Facebook, my heart aches with you. So, it's like, yeah, it just shows that this can happen sometimes. People forget this can happen. Just because you endorse Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't mean that she's gonna make it to the general. It is very unfortunate that some candidates don't make it to the... She didn't even get to make it to the general election. Okay. On a more lighter note, Hillary Clinton to stump for Andrew Gillum in the Florida's gubernatorial race. The Tallahassee mayor confirmed that Clinton would be joining him for an event in South Florida next month. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is set to campaign alongside Florida gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum in October. The Democratic Tallahassee mayor confirmed reports that Clinton would be joining him in South Florida campaign events on October 23rd in a press release Thursday. Gillum endorsed the 2016 presidential nominee during her campaign and spoke at the 2016 Democratic National Convention on her behalf. I am honored to have Secretary Clinton join me in Florida next month, Gillum said in a statement. Hillary knows what's at stake this election: affordable health care, a brighter future for our children, and the choice this election could not be clearer. Gillum. Why? Just why? You had it in the bag. Why do you Why are you doing this now? Florida lost. Clinton lost Florida. Remember that. You're picking the wrong horse. No, not Clinton. You should be picking Bernie. Bernie endorsed you in the primary. Clinton only took until now to even acknowledge your campaign. Why? Why are you trying to do this now? You're already winning. You ran on Medicare for all, and your website still says like you're for universal healthcare, like healthcare's a right, but you're trying to moderate what you say and say like, affordable healthcare's a right. It's like, what? No, you ran to be the populist left candidate, a la Bernie Sanders, and now you're running to be the candidate. Like, oh, well, we gotta be populist left on some things. A lot of people call this pivoting. Like, oh, you gotta pivot to the general election. No, this isn't called pivoting. It's called lying. He ran as the populist left candidate in the primary, and is running as the centrist-oriented candidate in the general election. That's not gonna win you any elections, buddy. They tried that in 2016. Well, they didn't try that. They tried going moderate for the 2016 election, and it didn't work. Moderates haven't won the Democratic Party so far. Well, they won the majority of the party, but they don't win the actual elections. Populist left wins. Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Jesus Choi Garcia, Stacey Abrams, Sarah Smith. They win. You don't. That doesn't win. Now, does this mean I will remove Gillum from my endorsement page? Man, not really. Because Gillum is just like Darcy Richardson. They're both running on both the populist left and the center, trying to appeal to both. And, I have faith that Gillum will, if he wins, at least attempt to pull a Medicare for all bill in Florida. If he doesn't, well, I'm going to do what Dave Rubin said he wouldn't do and hold his feet to the fire. Okay. Next story. Working Families Party looks for a new ballot position for Cynthia Nixon. The Working Families Party has taken its first step to find a new ballot position for Cynthia Nixon in November so that it can move her off of the governor line and potentially give it to Governor Cuomo. The party filed papers to nominate Douglas Seidman, its placeholder candidate for Assembly in Greenwich Village, for a judgeship. That creates a landing space for Nixon, the Working Families Party candidate for governor. Under the state's archaic election rules, the only way for Nixon to get off the Working Families Party gubernatorial line is to die, move out of the state, or run for another office. It's still not clear if Working Families Party activists will go along with the plan. Now, I kind of expected this. This is normally what happens in New York. The populist left candidate will get the Working Families Party nomination and they'll just go, and then when the general election rolls around, they'll just go, okay, bye, we're not going to run again. We're not going to run anymore. We got to give it to the Democrat. Even if they were campaigning heavily against the Democrat in the beginning. Now, this has just happened in New York's 21st district. I was actually holding off from endorsing someone in that district because I wasn't sure if I was going to endorse the Green Party candidate or the Working Families Party candidate because it was so long that they didn't remove her name for the ballot, so I thought she was a legitimate candidate. But nah. They were just waiting to put her name off. They were just waiting to take the name off of her ballot. So now these next two stories, I was gonna cover them as just like the news stories, but I think it'd just be best if I just talk about this as an entire news story, the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh. The confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh is a controversial one at that. Brett Kavanaugh has, of course, been recently accused of sexual assault. There's no denying that. A lot more than Clarence Thomas, who was just called out for harassment. But, you know, these claims are very serious. So, it's just a lot more serious. Obviously, being accused of sexually assaulting a woman is a very serious subject. So, when the case began, I was actually not, since I didn't know much about the case per se, basically, my position on the Dr. Ford case was, okay, you have an hour, convince me the story is legitimate, because as far as I can tell, the only evidence you have is something that could technically be easily fabricated. Not saying she did, but I'm just saying that it is easy to fabricate someone just saying, I vouch for this person. But her testimony, you know, I was inclined to believe her, but I wanted to wait for evidence to pile up. And then her case, like, as she was making it, seemed, you know, very legitimate, very reasonable, and, you know, all the times where she was probably, like, foggy or hazy about something, could easily just be like, well, I mean, it's obvious, it's been a while, so all of our memories aren't exactly accurate. And she fully admitted a lot of times where she was estimating on certain things. And, well, yeah, that's how it came for her side. Then came the time where Kavanaugh was going to be hearing. And Kavanaugh just lied and lied and lied and lied. Like, I forget the term, but bogging, something like that. The one where you stick the alcohol bottle up and then you drink it. You know, like that thing. And then the Devil's Triangle, like, those are just minor things that I didn't even learn what they actually meant until today, because I don't know what they meant. I didn't know what they meant. When Kavanaugh said them, I believed him. It made sense, because I was like, oh, I mean, I guess it makes sense. But then, like, I watched The Rational National, where he explained a lot of this stuff, and I was like, well, yeah, why didn't Kavanaugh just say, oh, this just means a threesome? Or, the Devil's Triangle means a threesome. Why didn't he just say that? It makes sense. He could just say, "Oh no, I didn't have a threesome. It's just since we were kids, we would talk about threesomes. That's just the thing." He could have said that, and especially considering, like, literally, it's two things. One person says Kavanaugh sexually harassed them. The other person says, "I did not sexually harass her." Clearly, one of them is lying. And clearly, the one who is making who keeps saying things that aren't exactly true, they might be more inclined to lie about the whole story, the whole frame of the story itself. Whereas she's just been giving whatever information she has. We actually had a discussion about this in my American government class, and it took up literally pretty much the entire class period, because we got, like, a lot of interesting viewpoints, like, especially one from a libertarian-leaning Republican female who was just disgusted about Kavanaugh, said that, they should believe everything that a woman says when she claims to be sexually harassed. I wasn't like for that part, but then she got to a part where she said that when she moved, because she recently moved, she would change her voter registration to unaffiliated, and I was like, ooh, okay, that's interesting. Because, she probably doesn't know, but this actually gives her a whole lot more choice in the primaries. If she doesn't want to vote in the Republican primary, she can just ask for a Democratic ballot if she wants, or vice versa, or anything, really. The doors have opened for her. But anyways, that's beside the point. My teacher was explaining, like, yeah, the Republicans need to keep a lookout on that. Now, I remember because I was, like, really anxious about, cause, not to lie, there were a lot of times where they were, like, just being, like, clearly just, like, some senators were clearly just being, like, saying things just for the sake of their riling up their base. Like Cory Booker being like, we gotta, and Lindsey Graham screaming at the top of his lungs like, that you should be ashamed of yourself, you're ruining this man's life. To which people say, well, they believe he's guilty. They don't care if his life is ruined. If they believe he's guilty, they don't care if his life is ruined. There was one thing Lindsey Graham said I kind of agreed with. The fact that Dianne Feinstein had the letters, and she didn't release them. I 100% would have. I probably would have written her back and said, hey, do you mind if I reveal who you are? Or something? Maybe scheduled a meeting with Professor Ford? Or something along the lines? I'm still surprised people criticize Kevin De Leon for criticizing Dianne Feinstein for that. Because that's something to legitimately criticize Feinstein about. It makes total sense to criticize her for that. But then there's also a lot of, granted, there's a lot of, things, because there have been 3 so far cases of women accusing Kavanaugh, at least to my knowledge. And it seems that usually there are 3 major ones. Dr. Ford, one by the last name of Ramirez, I believe. Yeah, Ramirez. And I forget the last one, but I believe the first 2, but I don't believe the last one. The first one is, of course, Dr. Ford. The second one is, her Ramirez, she said that Brett Kavanaugh stuck his penis in her face. He took it out of his pants and then was like, haha. And then she was like, ew, gross. And then she smacked it or something. And then the last one gets, a little too far and then is legitimately says that she was gang raped by Kavanaugh and a friend of his. I don't believe the last one because the last one seems like, okay, I think that might be a bit far-fetched. I mean, it could be true. But one thing that makes me a little more inclined to disbelieve that is because the guy who is pushing that case in particular is Michael Avenatti, i.e. the guy who was like, Trump fucked a porn star. It's like, yeah. All Avenatti wants is attention, which is why we should stop feeding him and just let him die. Oh, you thought I meant attention? No. I meant literally. Don't take that out of context. Don't take that out of context for real though. I don't want Avenatti's lawyers to come knocking at my door. Wait, he doesn't need lawyers. He is a lawyer. But I don't I mean I don't really care that much about Avenatti. Avenatti's nobody really cares about him really, or at least nobody should care about him. And lastly, I think the last major thing was the vote, and or the votes that will happen when they actually vote. Because remember, this was a vote to have a vote to have a vote to have a vote. this was the vote to have the vote to confirm Kavanaugh. So, basically, everybody who was predicting pretty much got it right. It was going to be 11 Republicans to 10 Democrats. Although the one thing that was kind of like question mark about was Jeff Flake. Jeff Flake being like Jeff Flake legitimately was like, you know, he said like, I will vote yes to confirm, to move Kavanaugh's hearing to the House floor, not the House floor, the Senate floor, but on the condition that there will be a week-long investigation on Kavanaugh. And it came after Flake said that he would vote to confirm Kavanaugh, and that, of course, led to a woman confronting him on the elevator, and that, of course, had some repercussions and could be a deciding factor on Flake's vote. Now, the thing is, like, the thing about the final votes is everybody's like keeping their eyes out on a couple people. Really, there are 4 individuals that I think you need to watch them, and you need to watch them like a hawk, because these 4 can legitimately change their vote at any point in time. And there are also a couple people that I believe could have the potential to flip their votes. There are 2 individuals that I believe, 4 who have the potential to change their votes, and 4 that I legitimately, 4 have the legitimate potential to change their votes, and 4 people that I speculate could possibly change their votes. 4 are you don't really need to pay too much attention to them, but keep glance at them from a distance. The other 4 you gotta watch like a hawk. The 4 that you need to watch like a hawk are, of course, Suzanne Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Joe Manchin, and Heidi Heitkamp. Because those people, at the very least, their speculation, they've been kind of quiet about Kavanaugh. Manchin, I think, is a bit more not quiet. I think the most recent news says that he at least supports the decision of having the FBI investigate. But, that's probably could also be like Jeff Flake. They could just be keeping their eye out. Now, actually, it's 5 more people that could potentially change their votes. I mean, these are the small ones that you don't really have to pay too much attention about. But these are 5 individuals that I think have the potential to change their votes. First, we'll start with the Republicans. Jeff Flake. Due to the fact that he was kind of, icky about Kavanaugh, I will say that there is a potential of him changing his vote. But the potential, it's kind of like if you had me bet on Beto O'Rourke to win against Ted Cruz. I'm not going to put money on it because the potential is not big enough. The next one is Rand Paul, because Kavanaugh is very anti-Fourth Amendment. So that could potentially lead to Paul changing his vote. But again, don't keep a close eye on him. The next one is Doug Jones. Doug Jones has been billing himself to be the moderate guy, even though he's kind of been recently saying, Kavanaugh is a shoo-in. I'm not going to vote for Kavanaugh. I still say keep his eye out because he hasn't been too honest about recent Supreme Court justices. And the last 2, Joe Donnelly and John Tester. Again, Manchin-like conservative Democrats. So, again, keep your eye out on them. These guys are the small ones. The bigger ones, are the obvious Collins, Murkowski, Manchin, and Heitkamp. Those are the big ones you gotta watch out for. But anyways, on to a lighter note. The political party of the day. Boy, they probably don't like to be mentioned right in front of Kavanaugh. The United States Pirate Party. The United States Pirate Party is an American political party founded in 2006 by Brett Allison and Alex English. The Pirates platform is aligned with the global pirate movement and supports reforms of copyright laws and reflects open source and free culture values, government transparency, protection of privacy, and civil liberties. The United States Pirate Party also advocates for evidence-based policy, egalitarianism, meritocracy, and the hacker ethic, as well as rolling back of corporate personhood and corporate welfare. So, and like, their ideology is stated here on Wikipedia: pirate politics, techno-progressivism, freedom of information, civil libertarianism, open government, and direct democracy. It was founded in the June of 2006 by University of Georgia graduate student Brent Allison in response to the success of the Swedish Piratpartiet. Its platform focused primarily on copyright reform and the freedom of internet censorship. They saw a pirate party that adhered to reforming copyright laws in Europe. They saw that political party and they copied it. That's pretty much what happened. I mean, they say that they don't want to reform. They say that copyright laws are pretty much non-existent. Their philosophy is that they want to reform copyright laws. So, hey, they're fine with this. Both pirate parties are fine with that. Their ideology, again, stated by Wikipedia, it's like factions of the party include left libertarians, classical liberals, anarchists, progressives, and radical centrists. Many pirates explicitly decline to identify with a political ideology or philosophy, and they are driven to do what works, rather than driven by a particular ideology. Again, their main thing is reforming copyright reform, so pretty much if you're for reforming copyright and free and open government, you're pretty much going to agree with them. Now, they've never actually fielded a presidential candidate. I think they've fielded a couple of state and local candidates. They've actually have a couple of state parties. They have a couple of state, here's their registered. They don't really have due to the fact that the Pirate Party is so loose and they mostly adhere to the internet, they're not really a connected party. Sometimes they wish they would be, because in 2016, with Lawrence Lessig running for the Democratic nomination and losing dramatically, they were 100% mad that they weren't an actual political, at least an actual factual political party, because if they were, they could have actually, gotten Lawrence Lessig the chance to actually become a viable candidate. To which I say, well, learn from your mistake. Try again next time. I like the Pirate Party. I've explained the Pirate Party before because I like copyright reform. I like free and open government. Civil libertarianism is my thing. Live and let live on your personal life. I don't care if you like to smoke weed or do crack or be gay. I don't care. And not even a thing where it's but keep that away from me. That's usually how libertarians who are socially conservative adhere to their philosophy. They're well, just live and let live, but don't be it around me. Legitimately, I don't care if you're whatever. If you wanna smoke crack or do weed or something, I don't care. Do whatever you want. Their only candidate for federal office was James Hill for Iowa's 1st Congressional District in 2006. He didn't win, obviously, but he managed to get a sizable 1.06% of the popular vote. So he actually beat the Libertarian candidate. You know, that usually doesn't happen. So you're probably wondering, when, you're all probably sitting in their seat anxiously saying, come on, it's time for you-know-who. And, today's the day. I was expecting maybe a little while afterwards, but it's time to talk about Ben Shapiro. Alright, folks, listen. If you think that Ben Shapiro is a legitimate candidate for, a legitimate person, you're wasting my time. And the idea that you would... Okay, I'm not gonna do the Ben Shapiro impression, because that would be a waste of time. I'm just gonna give you my general thoughts on Ben Shapiro and, his rise to fame through the famous, him bashing left-wingers. He's just super popular because, in order to show, my disdain for Ben Shapiro and a lot of his stuff, I'll be playing a couple of videos that'll emphasize my point. First, here's one about when Ben Shapiro made an appearance on Fox News under the new Ben Shapiro election special.
Welcome back for tonight's big point. This week, Senator Bernie Sanders, official beloved loon bag of the Democratic establishment.
The Democratic establishment does not like Bernie Sanders. They don't. They don't like Bernie Sanders. They don't. They just don't. He's a social democrat who calls himself a democratic socialist. The Democratic Party is neoliberals who call themselves progressives. They don't like him one bit because, he actually wants to bring change and not the quote-unquote change that they like.
He did so while appearing with alleged comedian Sarah Silverman, who's mostly famous for saying dirty words in a little girl voice. Here's what the lake house-owning senator had to say.
Bernie Sanders owns a lake house? Oh my god, that means literally every single thing about his ideology is bullshit. Oh, wait a second. No, it doesn't. Who cares if he owns a lake house? So what? That doesn't mean the substance of what he says means anything. It's like pointing at Ben Shapiro and saying, well, Ben Shapiro, he owns pants. He owns pants. Come on. How can you trust what he says? He wears pants.
Use dirty words. This is the United States Senate.
I can't.
No, it's the United States Senate. We just starve little children. We go bomb houses and buses of children. We give tax breaks to billionaires, but we don't use dirty words.
So Bernie is both ignorant and unfunny, but at least he does have that cute Bernie voice that makes him beloved to college students everywhere. And also, he loves pudding. His entire lake house filled with different flavors of pudding.
Wow, he owns a house, a lake house, and he likes pudding, but, there's things that he said that should probably address, the starving children aspect. That's one of the big things about Ben Shapiro. Here's what he does. He's like, I'm a strong intellectual conservative, and I'm going to debunk Bernie Sanders. But then literally the second, he doesn't open with the, that. He doesn't open with the intellectual argument. He goes, oh, I am Bernie Sanders, and I am a fucking moron. Socialism, Venezuela, Soviet Union. I am a Jew. That's like, the video probably explains a lot more.
This statement is actually important because it does reveal a serious gap in the way Americans from the hard left think versus the rest of America. In the view of the hard left, universal ills are uniquely America's fault.
They're not unique to America. A lot of countries have starvation, but the problem with what Bernie Sanders is trying to say is, especially considering the fact that he was also referring to bombing children. The children we're starving are not here. We're starving other children in Yemen.
Specific goods are actually the result of universal culture. So poverty, America's fault. Landing on the moon, a world achievement.
Is it not a world achievement?
The hard left believes America's an evil, awful place, founded in racism, sexism, bigotry, homophobia.
Well, it's not that bad. I mean, granted, a good majority of our presidents had, at least a not so kind interpretation of black people, considering they owned them as property. But hey, I mean, granted, we're not that racist and bigoted anymore. I'm not going to say America sucks. America can definitely be improved.
All of our pretentious talk about all men being created equal with inalienable rights, all of that is just cover for the patriarchy, heteronormative, cisgender power structure that deprives outsiders of their due. That's the view of Howard Zinn, of Hollywood, and of Bernie Sanders. It's why many on the left kneel for the flag. The flag is the symbol of a uniquely bad nation with a uniquely bad idea.
There are lots of reasons why people kneel for the flag. That could be a specific reason for a specific person. But for Colin Kaepernick, it's because he's trying to protest police brutality. He normally does that. That could be a big reason. Or maybe because it's a piece of cloth or something like that. Maybe because we're legally allowed to do whatever we want to the flag because it's a piece of fabric. I don't know. Maybe there's something to this.
All absolutely wrong. America's founding creed, the belief in God-given individual rights, protected by a limited government enshrined by a virtuous people, has achieved precisely the opposite of what Sanders says. No, America does not starve little children.
In Yemen, you forgot to mention the fact that he was specifically talking about Yemen. I know he's speaking about Yemen specifically because he follows that up with the blowing up of school buses, which is what we do in Yemen. We have a blockade around Yemen that prevents people from getting food, ergo, we are starving little children.
America does not starve little children. America lifts little children from poverty. The power of the America-led free trade and free market economy has alleviated global poverty faster than any force in human history. We are the engine of the world's prosperity, and that engine is going strong. According to the World Bank, over the last 3 decades, extreme global poverty has dropped by 74.1%. Literally hundreds of millions of people have been lifted from poverty by the power of the American economy and its involvement in the world economy.
Yeah, not counting the 39.7 million people in America that are in poverty. Like, I'm not gonna say that, I don't know too much about this specific statistics or factual, like, that kind of stuff, but I can say, like, if the American economy is doing so well, 39.7 million people in poverty doesn't seem like it's working so good.
And little children aren't starving in America either.
I'm sorry, what?
Little children aren't starving in America either.
Little children don't starve in America. At least not Christian children. G-man.
Quote, a poor child is more likely to have cable TV, a computer, a widescreen plasma TV, an Xbox, or a TiVo in the home than to be hungry.
39.7 million people in poverty.
According to Pew Research, the U.S. stands head and shoulders above the rest of the world in terms of wealth. 56% of Americans were high income by global standards. 32% were upper middle income.
Again, 39.7 million in poverty. I hate to keep dwelling on this, but he has yet to explicitly acknowledge the fact that there are 39.7 million people in poverty. So, you know, you can suck America's dick and I can make America look bad, but I mean, you can't deny a lot of people in poverty. And you can also say to me, oh, you can't deny their accomplishments. And I can't deny all of them.
Only 2% of Americans are poor by global standards.
Well, I see a lot of really poor people. If that's the case, then maybe the global standards are too high. Isn't it like somewhere around $1,000, the poverty line? I heard that was somewhere before.
How about giving tax breaks to billionaires?
Because as we all know, the one people in this country that have been screwed over are the millionaires and billionaires that make millions and billions of dollars a year. What? Seriously, why do people advocate cutting taxes to billionaires? It makes no sense. Why? Why do you think for some reason the people with more money should be paying less? That makes no sense.
As Senator Sanders well knows, the highest income earners in America pay the most taxes. By far, it's not close. The top 1% of earners, you know, the 1%, they pay 39% of federal income taxes.
Actually, the second highest tax bracket is 35%. So, shouldn't again, you're saying, like, the 1% pay 39% in taxes. You're saying that. And equal it more. Give them more income taxes. They have more income. Tax them more on their income. It's not going to put a dent in their money. Jeff Bezos, he makes, in 10 seconds, he makes more money than the average Amazon employee. He should be paying a lot more taxes than the average Amazon employee. And, you know, if the highest tax bracket is 39%, I don't think that's fair.
The top 10% pay 70.6% of federal income taxes.
I assume that's combined with the 1%. Because, you know, mathematically that makes sense. Again, because they have more income to spend.
The bottom 50% of income earners pay less than 3% of our federal income taxes.
Oh, I'm sorry, the poor family that has to make a tent out of newspaper can't pay more taxes than Jeff Bezos. I'm so sorry, Ben. I'm just so sorry for that. Again, because the bottom 50%, believe it or not, owns just as much wealth as the top 1%. They have more money than they have to use. Why not use that money for the benefit of mankind instead of just covering their own asses?
America's tax system is more progressive than any other developed country in the world, according to the Washington Post.
Personally, I think maybe the social democratic parties in Scandinavia probably have a higher tax bracket and a more progressive tax system. But, I mean, I just could be completely wrong.
You can't cut taxes for tax brackets that barely pay taxes. And Bernie could start by donating that lake house.
Ooh, he has a lake house. Just, ooh, you got me again. Bernie Sanders has a lake house. Ooh, you fucking got me there, Ben.
What about bombing homes and houses of children? Let's just remind Senator Sanders that America defeated slavery and Nazism and communism.
So that gives us every single right to bomb those little brown kids. I mean, let's just be fair. I mean, we defeated slavery, we defeated communism. Granted, Cuba's still communist, and so is North Korea. But we defeated Nazism. All the Nazis are gone. There are no more Nazis. We defeated communism. There's not a single communist in the United States or any other country in the world. And we defeated slavery, because there's literally no other country that owns slavery. Okay, folks? That gives us the right to bomb the little brown kids.
Well, to be fair, he might still be a bit bitter about that last one.
Ooh. It's just so freaking hilarious. He's just getting me good. Just so hilarious. This riveting commentary about the man who's not even a communist. I mean, Ben Shapiro gets called a Nazi all the time. I would assume I would assume being called the ideology you're not would be a bit offensive, and maybe he would probably be a bit more, like, fairer, but nah. Just because he gets called an ideology he's not, doesn't mean he's not going to do the same to other people. I mean, come on, what do you think Ben Shapiro is? Consistent?
America spent more blood and treasure defending the freedom of others than any country in world history.
Again, that gives us every single right to bomb the little brown kids. I mean, come on. They're the little brown kids. They're the ones with the little turbans on their head and associate with terrorists. I mean, come on, folks. Let's get real.
The Union lost some 365,000 soldiers in the Civil War to free the slaves.
And literally after that, everything was hunky-dory. Former slaves and white men got together along perfectly hunky-dory.
117,000 in World War I to keep Europe free of German imperialism.
And Germany learned their lesson and never invaded another country again.
405,000 Americans died in World War II to keep the world free of fascism.
And fascism went away forever. Not a single person in the entire world identifies as a fascist. You get what I'm going at?
37,000 died to keep South Korean people free. 58,000 died in a vain attempt to keep the Vietnamese people free.
Well, he at least acknowledges that the last one didn't work so well.
More than 2,000 in a continuing attempt to free Afghanistan of its terror masters.
Yes, because that war has been working out so well. You really shouldn't use the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq to be arguments for you, because, let's be real, any sane person knows that those are arguments against you, or your ideology in particular.
And yes, 4,500 in a continuing attempt to free Iraq. That doesn't mean America hasn't made mistakes.
It just so happens that you named a couple of those mistakes as things that make you look good. Vietnam and Iraq and Afghanistan, those are mistakes. We have no reason to go in those countries, really. In fact, we barely had any reason to go into Korea, to be honest. The only reason I don't really count Korea in that is because we actually won Korea.
But the American fighting men and women have been more humane in their pursuit of liberty for others than any other fighting force in human history.
That's because we like our violence, we like our guns, we like our weapons, we like them. We like them. That's just the American way. God bless America.
And the world has trended toward democracy and freedom because of it.
Iraq and Afghanistan beg to differ. The Middle East is nowhere near democratic. The only democracy there is, believe it or not, the one that keeps causing these terrorist groups to hate us.
So, Senator Sanders, I'd love to tell you precisely where you can go. But I'm on Fox News. And on Fox News, just like in the Senate, we're still not allowed to curse.
Wait, I thought Jews didn't believe in hell. Ben Shapiro is not actually a Jew, confirmed? Nah. But I mean, like, you're literally just going to tell Bernie Sanders that he can go to hell just because he happens to point out the actual flaws in America? You're like, you criticize my homeland? Go to hell, Bernie. I don't know, why did I make you sound like a Valley girl there for a second? I mean, to be fair, Bernie Sanders, not Bernie Sanders, Ben Shapiro, you can sound like a Valley girl sometimes. Oh my god, let's get, okay. Okay, but that's probably just my shitty impersonation of Ben Shapiro. Oh, by the way, I recorded this 2 days in a row, actually. So yeah, I didn't expect this video to turn out into just me responding to that one Ben Shapiro clip. But, hey, we can make that into a new format. Leave a comment below if you want that to be a new format of me also responding to videos at one point too. Maybe that can be a new segment. Okay. So I guess I can just also bring up a couple of points against Ben Shapiro on a lot of things. Like, I don't want to make this video. I don't want to respond to another Ben Shapiro video. But there's one video that he did on PragerU. Ooh, I can feel all the people in my audience just wince when they hear PragerU, where Ben talks about how the left is trying to brainwash you through the airwaves with their abortion propaganda. Ooh, a TV show had a character get an abortion. Oof. That'd be like if I saw a person praying on a television show and was like, oh my god, the Christians are trying to brainwash us. Oh my god, for real, bro. It's like, come on, Ben. You're grasping at straws. Especially considering he's one of those people that tries to make conservatism to be like the new, although I do give Ben Shapiro credit, he is very, I guess you could say articulate. That's because he talks so fast that he doesn't let the other person get their word out. And personally, like it's also is obviously because of my differing politics, but every single video of Ben Shapiro where he's like, you know, doing a thing where he gets mad, like where he like talks to a left-wing college student, every single video that goes, Ben Shapiro eviscerates liberal college student. Like, literally every time, I just think Ben Shapiro's talking out of his ass, pretty much. But, I mean, maybe some biases. Like, there are a couple of things that, like, there's also, like, there are some things I would like to see, like a Ben Shapiro-Kyle Kulinski debate. I mean, come on, Politicon, you pretty much screwed it up by having Ben Shapiro not, by having Kyle Kulinski debate Ann Coulter. Who cares about Ann Coulter? Fuck Ann Coulter, I don't care about her. Have Kyle debate Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's like the actually articulate one of the group. He represents the new media conservatism, and Kyle Kulinski represents the new media left-wing progressivism. And speaking of Ben Shapiro in debates and something to shit on him about, his whole spiel about him wanting to debate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, let me explain the scenario to people who don't understand it. As we all know, there's a progressive running in New York's 14th Congressional District by the name of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She ran and beat incumbent corporate Democrat Joe Crowley. And, of course, that was a big thing. Now, Ben Shapiro criticizes her because she identifies as a Democratic Socialist, and he thinks that all Democratic Socialists, according to him, quote, I'd like to say where you guys can go, but unfortunately, on Fox News, I can't say that. Well, that's not really a quote, but who cares about specifics? But anyways, he, on his show, The Daily Wire, called upon Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to debate him. Why? Because he wants to know the face of the new face of the Democratic Party. That's his thing. He wants to debate those ideas, and he offered to give her $1,000 or $10,000 or something like that to her campaign. She denied because of the obvious. She can't debate you because she's running for office. Ben, here's how you debate her. Go to New York's 12th District, convince the Republican Party or the Conservative Party to endorse the candidacy for you, and then boom, you can debate her whenever you want. But she doesn't owe you a debate if you're just some random guy. To her, you're just this conservative guy columnist. And then when she says, "No thanks, Ben, I don't want to debate you," she apparently used, I don't see any evidence of her using the term catcalling before what happens next, but I believe she might have. I don't know. She apparently the idea was that she compared him wanting to debate her for no reason to catcalling, to which kind of makes sense, especially what happens next. She said, "No, I don't want to debate you," and then Ben Shapiro responded with, "Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why do you want to debate me? Why not?" To which me and literally every person on the internet said was, "Hey Ben, if you want someone left wing to debate, you know, we have Kyle Kalinske, Jimmy Dore, Mike Figueredo, Tom Hartman. Just call up Tom Hartman. I'd like to see that. If you're gonna have Kyle Kalinske debate Ann Coulter, maybe you can have Ben Shapiro debate Tom Hartman." Oh, I just remembered. Ben Shapiro was invited on the Tom Hartman show. Back when, no, not the Tom Hartman show, the Big Picture RT with Tom Hartman. That one, yeah. And he was complaining about how Sesame Street was like making your kids gay or something. Man, Ben Shapiro's such a freaking snowflake. And he says how left-wingers need to stop being snowflakes, and every time someone like offends the conservative upbringing, he's like, "What? Why could you? How could you?" I mean, Ben Shapiro, I think throughout the majority of his career was kind of iffy on free speech. I think in more recent years he's kind of been, at least moderating himself to at least allow people free speech. To which, yeah, I'm a free speech absolutist too. I don't care if Ben Shapiro wants to give a speech at University of Berkeley. Fine, I don't care. Let me get the speech afterwards. I mean, Mario Savio led the free speech movement at Berkeley. That is kind of one irony, though. Like, Berkeley, it went from
a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
To then writing about a certain individual whose ideas probably will let themselves die if they even hear them. Mario Savio probably wouldn't want that. So yeah, anyways, sorry that the video turned out the way it did, unless you like it. And if Ben Shapiro happens to watch this, because I'm gonna at him when I send the video out, it'd be nice to see him respond to this. That'd be fun, because it'd get me more views, even more so if he eviscerates me. I'd like to see that. I mean, I would actually, to be quite honest. If Ben Shapiro watched my video and shared it on his radio show, or even his YouTube show, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'd probably do like one of those things where it's like a reactor reacts to a reaction. So, final verdict, don't like him because, well, conservative. But hey, at least, unlike Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson, he's at least honest about his conservatism. I mean, the other ones try to do like I'm not really conservative, I'm a blank, 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 blank. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Quora. What are your thoughts on Ben Shapiro? Do you like him? Do you hate him? Do you plan on him eviscerating me? Why do I keep saying eviscerating? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.